Morning.
Hi, Colette. Good to
Good
have you here.
morning. Thank
Good
you.
morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, just woken up.
Colette, could you be a little louder, please?
Yeah.
I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for joining me, and for as our viewers keep joining in, I'll just give a brief introduction. Colette is the author of IVF Got This, and she is a mama for two beautiful babies. And today we have her on to share her story, to talk a little bit about her book, and also to give us, some sort of tips on how to get through an IVF journey. Right. So welcome, Colette.
Thank you.
And to begin with, I think I'm just gonna ask a very, overview sort of a question.
Yeah.
What made you start on your IVF journey? It's not a easy decision or to take. So what made you start on the journey, and what were your expectations before you sort of started the journey? Before you even knew what you were getting into. So give us a bit of an idea about that.
Yeah, so it took me around 9 years before I was able to have my twins. At the start, I had 2 miscarriages, and from there, I knew something wasn't right, because after that, it took me another 2 years to try and conceive. I went to the GP and asked if I could have some tests done, because here in the UK, you can't actually be tested to undergo IVF unless you've had 3 rounds of miscarriages. So on my second round, I knew something wasn't right, because it took a long time after that to still try and get pregnant. So when I went to the GP, she put me through lots of tests, and then I went to see a specialist, who again I went through tests for around 2 or 3 years. After then, that was only the time when they decided to be able to put me forwards to have IVF. But then I was told it would be another 9-month wait. By this time, I was already 35 years old, and I was like, I think I need to move this along a bit more. So I tried researching about private IVF treatment, and from there I researched that and opted to go the private route, because they would be able to start my next period. But once I started that, I actually found out that I was on the list to join the NHS version, but I was already halfway through my treatment. So I decided to carry on down the private route. Obviously, when I tried IVF, I thought I'd get pregnant straight away, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, and I still had to go through 3 rounds before I actually managed to get pregnant.
Yeah, I think this is a very common misconception, that most of
Yeah,
us get into, that the minute we start an IVF treatment, that's almost a guarantee that we're going to have a baby.
yes,
There's so many
yeah,
other women that I've spoken to who go with that belief, but then, over and over, when you see negative results coming, it could be very depressing and,
yes, yeah.
demotivating. So, just moving on from there, in terms of challenges that you faced during your treatments, you already mentioned that, you had several miscarriages, and of course, between private versus NHS treatments, there was a shift. But the actual procedure itself, were there any challenges specifically that you either weren't aware of or weren't prepared to deal with?
I think not so much with the treatment, it was actually more the psychological effects of going through the treatment. It really affects you emotionally as well. You are on a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs to take, a lot of injections. You have these expectations of getting pregnant straight away. Then you have like 2 weeks wait before you can even take a pregnancy test, and that is the longest 2 weeks wait ever. And then, sometimes it comes out as a positive test, and then just down the road again, you lose the baby. I wasn't prepared for all the weight gain from all the steroids that I was taking. It was hard to juggle working and attending appointments, because during my second round of IVF, they found out that I had really strong NK killer cells. So I would attend appointments every 4 weeks to have intralipid infusions, which is where they inject soya fat to coat my veins so that I should be able to fight the killer cells and get pregnant. So attending those appointments every 4 weeks, as well as injecting myself every day, was, very difficult. My husband did the injections in my back and I did my injections in my stomach. Every day you get bruises on top of bruises, and then, you get heartbroken. You wonder why am I doing this? You lose all hope. But there are many, many challenges. But you just have to, try and be strong. Even seeing other pregnant women down the street or newborn babies, or finding out that a friend has got pregnant when you're trying so hard, it is very, very challenging.
Yeah. And then people don't understand why inflicting this torture on yourself.
Exactly.
I kept getting advice like, maybe you should just adopt, maybe you should just give up
Yeah.
on this altogether, and so it was very like they don't get it why you're doing it, and
No,
it's
that's
this
right.
need to have your own baby.
And it is difficult because some part of you does want to give up at some points, because you're absolutely at your lowest, but you know how much you want to have a baby, and then you think, I can't give up. I just have to keep going until it happens.
Yeah. And it sort of also puts your life on hold, right? Like you mentioned,
yes,
you're going through so many injections, so many appointments, so many treatments, that everything else just comes to a
halt.
complete stop. You don't have the mental bandwidth for it anymore.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
I believe that there's a big role that support groups or resources that are readily available could help people with. And was there something that you referred to, or something that really helped you during this journey?
Yeah, it was actually towards the end of my journey, and I got very depressed, and I started calling the Samaritans, which I didn't actually find helpful. And then I found the Miscarriage Association. So I phoned them up, and they invited me to join a closed forum group on Facebook. And that helped me a lot, being able to speak to other women going through IVF or miscarriages. Just being able, you feel like you're part of a certain group of people that only you have the same interests, so to speak. You just want to have a baby. That's all you're interested in doing. It takes over your life. Everything that you see in front of you is to do with babies. And the only people that I found that was able to understand that was people going through it as well. Because to other people, they're just like, oh, you just need to keep trying. Oh, it will happen when it happens. These things happen for a reason. But actually that advice didn't help me at all. So I found comfort in speaking to other women and couples going through IVF and miscarriages. I did attend counselling as well, but I didn't find that as helpful, because again, they're talking about your mental state, but they're not really engaging in what is happening or experiencing the same as you. I also found swimming helped me quite a bit as well, because when I was swimming, I could just have the right mindset and just concentrate on that. But otherwise, everything else was just babies, babies, babies.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. It was, for me, I wasn't able to connect to a lot of people who had gone through a similar journey, probably because, in India, this topic is still a very hush-hush taboo thing.
Yeah.
Even people who have gone through a fertility treatment will never acknowledge that they've done it, which is why I'm doing this series to sort of build a little more awareness and a little more support for people who are going through it now. And it's very important to find people who resonate with the idea, because they've gone through the same experience. So that's the whole idea of infertility dialogue that I'm trying to push. But thank you so much for sharing that. I just wanted to also understand a little bit more about the role of family, friends, and the support. So I went through IVF as a single person. My husband
Right.
passed away before. So, for me, sitting in those clinics all by myself was a very, I would say, difficult journey.
Yeah,
Right?
lonely,
So
very
I just
lonely.
wanted, and I don't have the idea of a partner support and how it could help. So if you could shed a bit more light on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, my partner played a big role. Whether it was attending appointments with me, they couldn't attend all my appointments because I had a lot of appointments to attend. And obviously, it was going on for years. But just having someone there to support you, holding your hand, being able to listen when you have to rant about it, or when you're going through something emotionally and you can't deal with it, at least, there's someone there that can see what you're going through, learning about your treatment and your medication that you're on, listening to you, empathizing with you, and basically just listening to you vent all the time. Oh, my friend's having a baby shower and they've invited me, but I don't want to go. Am I a bad person for not wanting to attend? Those kind of things. It was just there to be a shoulder to cry on, someone to hug when you have bad days. So I felt like my husband played a very important part in my IVF journey. And obviously, we were going through it together because he wanted children as well. So yeah. I think I would have found it more difficult without him being there. But I know a lot of women do go through it alone.
So actually, that brings me to another question, which is you talked a little bit about, how swimming helped you keep your mind off the whole baby thing, and how your partner support also helped you vent, right? So these are in a way coping mechanisms, to take your mind off certain things that, a treatment that's become a part of your life, right? So,
Yeah.
and people who are starting out their journey or maybe even going through it and they're not very sure how to deal with this, could help. These things could help them, right? So any tips for people who are either just starting out for whatever reason and or are in the middle of their IVF journey but are not able to cope? Any tips for them in terms of how they can cruise through this?
I don't think you would be able to cruise through it anyway whatsoever.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But it could ease the pain a little bit.
Yeah, of course. It's definitely a roller coaster of emotions. There's a lot of trials, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of heartaches, a lot of waiting. You just have to try and be a strong person. Find something that you believe in and stick with it, whether it's praying, whether it's taking parts in sports, whether it's reading. You need to try and keep your mind busy, although it's not easy because your mind is overtaken by trying to have a baby. But try and find some kind of enjoyment in something else. Like I said, when I went swimming, I forgot about everything else. I was just deep in my thoughts. But apart from that, I tried meditating, yoga. None of that worked for me. So you just need to find something that will work for you. And read other people's stories. That helps as well. Reading other people's stories. Yeah.
That does, because there's something to learn. Because I believe, IVF fertility treatments is a unique journey for everybody. The treatment course might be the same, but the journey that you go through is your own, what you deal with. Like, for example, for me, even though I went through the IVF route, I wasn't able to get pregnant. Like, they did every possible test and they just couldn't find anything wrong with me. And but it still wasn't happening, right? So there are unexplained causes, and in those times, it's not. A lot of people I see start blaming themselves. There's something wrong with me. Why am I not, able to get pregnant? And maybe the society, the peer pressure is also there that unless you have a baby, you're lacking as a human being. So to deal with all sort of those things, I think being strong is really important.
Very important. You have to, like you said, a lot of people have different mindsets different inner strengths. And by my second round of IVF, I lost all my inner strength. And I thought, what is happening to me? Because I'm usually a very positive person. I always try to have a positive outlook, but I was getting beaten down on a daily basis. And then I got to real rock bottom and I thought, how am I going to get myself out of this? I was locking myself in the bedroom, covering my head with a duvet. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was in a bad mood all the time. It could have been because of some of the drugs that I was on, or it could have just been because I wasn't getting what I wanted and I was trying my hardest. And doctors just kept saying to me, there's nothing else we can do. You're on the highest program that we've got. Your eggs are of a good grade. You just have to keep trying. And when you get told that you just have to keep trying, it is so hard to find the inner strength to carry on. So you just have to try and focus on something to help you get through it. True. But definitely, like, reading positive stories gave me hope that maybe this can still happen. Like, I didn't want to give up because I just knew that I wanted to have children. But like you said, you get to a point where people might make comments and you think, what's wrong with me? I mean, I had a point where I turned around to my husband and said, just leave me. Go and find someone else that can give you children, because I know you want to have children. And I was blaming myself for not being able to get pregnant. But he was just like, no, we're going through this together. I'm not going to leave you if it means we have to adopt or go through surrogacy or any other route, we'll go down it. And, you know, that made me feel 10 times better, knowing that I had someone there that was willing to stick by my side no matter what.
True. I think that kind of support is really, really needed, you know, if you have to get through this, because like you mentioned earlier, more than the financial cost, IVF takes a toll on your physical well-being, you know. The whole gaining weight part, I can totally, you know, get it, because in the 2.5 years that I went through IVF, I did some 6 cycles, I put on 20 kgs, and it's been like a struggle to
lose it. It's hard.
Because it's very different from normal weight gain, right? And ultimately, I wasn't even able to get pregnant, so I had to take a tough decision, and I said, okay, I'm going to opt for surrogacy, because ultimate aim is to become a parent, and that thankfully, you know, worked for me, and now I have a baby boy. But so many of the stories don't end positively, and you know, that could be really, that could really destroy a person's self-esteem. And I think that's when that support becomes really important in life.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that brings me actually to the last question that I have for today, and that's about your book. Tell us something about it. The memoir that you've written, IVF Got This.
Yeah, so this is a copy of my book that I've written. It comes in colour pink and colour blue. And basically, after my journey, I wanted to be able to share with other people that are going through IVF, the ups and downs, everything that happens. So it's got information about my mental health. It's got information about the drugs that I was on, the doctors, past relationships, because before I was with my husband, I also suffered another miscarriage, dealing with working and attending all of my appointments. So I wrote this book because I did find comfort in reading other people's stories. And it is a positive story because at the end I did have twins. So I wanted to be able to give comfort and hope to other people. It is available in paperback and also as an ebook. So people can get it on Amazon, Kindle, iTunes, iBooks. And I've recently also launched a podcast called The Road to Motherhood. And that will be speaking again about fertility treatment and different things that you go through, but also once you become a mum and the trials that you have once you become a mum. Because for me, having twins was also very difficult after my long, hard journey of trying to conceive. Twins was another challenge that I had.
Yes.
So I wrote this book while they were sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wow. Because I felt strongly about trying to get the awareness out about IVF. And, you know, it's for parents and relatives that also have relatives going through IVF, because they don't fully understand it. They can read about stories, but they won't actually know what a person is battling in their mind. So I just wanted to be able to help as many people that I could, and I thought the best way was to write a book.
That's amazing. And actually, for those of you who, you know, you're listening in, Colette is giving away a copy of her book, and we will post more details about that giveaway on the page very soon. But stay tuned for that, and hopefully you will get a copy. If not, please still go read the book, because I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting journey with a lot of revelations. And Colette, like that point you mentioned, people don't really understand what people going through an infertility treatment go through. I mean, when my son was born, because he was born via surrogacy, people didn't understand it at all, and they thought I've adopted him. And I'm nothing against adoption. In fact, that's one of the things I want to do. But you know, the first time I brought him home to my my mom's place, and all those relatives came together, and the first question they asked me, "So did you know his parents?" I'm like, "What?" I am his parent, and it was like so shocking. I didn't know what to answer, because they didn't understand what it meant. They assumed that I paid some woman and bought her baby. So it was it was insane. But yeah, so which is why we need to have these conversations, and we need to spread awareness about infertility treatment and those of us who are going through it. So yeah, thank you so much, Colette, for joining us today. It's great having you here, and that's it, folks, for today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for interviewing me today. And if anyone wants to follow me, they can do at Colette Centeno Fox. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have as well.
Amazing.
Thank you for today, and enjoy the rest of your day there in India.
Thank you. You have a good day too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.